After one of their best opening periods of the season, the Stars' early season struggles with lead and uncharacteristic plays from individuals lead to their first loss of the season against Vancouver. We'll break it all down next.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free, available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to a Friday edition of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Well, the Dallas Stars are not going 82-0 this season. They suffered their first loss of the season against the Canucks by a final score of 5-3. The Canucks have been a bugaboo for the Dallas Stars at home over the last couple of seasons. Some uncharacteristic play from certain individuals. Thomas Harley, Casey DeSmith really struggled tonight. We'll talk about that and plenty more. And we'll kick you off into the weekend with a short little preview of the St. Louis Blues. Maybe the Stars just need to get back to Central Division play to right the ship. But my main takeaway, and something that has now reoccurred here in the first couple of games, whether you like it or not, the Stars are struggling with the lead. They are really struggling when they get up, not by 1, but 2, 3 goals in a contest. They just let the foot off the gas. We saw it against Winnipeg in the season opener. We saw it at points against Colorado, but not as extreme. And then, of course, just earlier in the week against Minnesota, they allow teams to hang around. They are allowing teams to stay in the game, whether that's via their netminder, and credit to Demko. He was good in the game. Credit to Gustafsson earlier in the week. But the Stars are really struggling to just keep the pedal down. And they have nobody to blame except themselves for this one tonight. They took too many penalties. Again, they're just loading up power plays. And Vancouver came into the game 0-for, and that was bound to change. They have Quinn Hughes, if not the best, one of the best offensive defensemen in the game. He has a big night, including the empty netter. But the Stars were living in slim margins again. It was one of their better opening periods to begin the year. They go up 2-0. Bork gets a fortunate bounce. Rantanen's power play goal was beautiful, especially off the rush late in the first period. Every team hates giving up a goal in the final minute of a frame. That was a big power play goal. Stars end up with 2 tonight, but it was too little too late by the time Johnston scored his 4th of the season. Man, he continues to be great. But back to them struggling with leads. They had a chance to put the game away, essentially. And I know there was still a ton of time left in the game if they had scored on this opportunity. But Connor Garland, early in the second period, 2 minutes for slashing on steel, loaded up the Stars' power play. It looked good. They had chances, but they didn't bury it. And that's an opportunity for you to go up 3-0 and maybe put the game away. Maybe not with what we've seen early, but maybe 3 was enough to take some of the spirit away from Vancouver. And who knows, maybe if you get that power play goal, the Stars spur on. We've seen them gain momentum from some of their power plays recently. Instead, they take a penalty via Radek Faksa, and then the Canucks end up cashing in, and they go to work, and they put up 4 unanswered and take a lead. Before you know it, the Stars are down 2. They were up 2 going into the second, and then they were down 2 after 40. And it's another case of them just letting the foot off the gas. They have to bury teams. This goes back to a point I did praise them for against Colorado, or against Minnesota, I should say. They at least closed the game out. They gave up those 2 goals, a couple power play goals, But they closed the game out when it was 3-2. They end up getting the empty netter from Faksa, and the Stars are able to come away with a victory. But they can't just play 25, 30, 35, 40 minutes. They have to keep the foot on the gas, and they can't let up. And they get really passive when they get up. They don't seem to be as aggressive. They're not forcing the issue as much. They allow teams to come after them, and it feels like they're being more reactive than they are being proactive in the game. They're sitting back. And I said it in the preview episode on Thursday. The Canucks depth chart doesn't really scare you all that much. They have great high-end talent, of course, but it's not really the names that jump off the page to you that maybe you have to worry about. It's the guys like Connor Garland, who was humming. Man, he was all over the place. He was giving Bischel fits. He was giving everybody on the Stars fits tonight. I just don't think the Stars were overly physical in the game either. I didn't see that edge in the contest like we've seen in the previous 3 games. Like when you get up, you have to really start pounding teams. You take leads, don't look for the pretty play. Like start banging teams and wear them out. I just don't think they wore out the Canucks enough and just allowed them to stay in the game. At one point, they were out shooting the Canucks 18-7, 20-7. I think is what the shots on goal were when Vancouver scored their first goal of the game, the second period, and then it just unraveled from there. The Stars just got caught swimming. Harley didn't have a great night. Harley really struggled. That was one of the uncharacteristic plays from certain individuals tonight. He had a tough one, and that happens, right? he's not always going to look like a Norris finalist. He just struggled. That one puck just ate him up on the Hedel goal. It's one you can't allow. Just the high flip from deep in Vancouver territory by Kane, and it just took a couple. It ate him up. Of course, you'd like to see him get in front of that, body it down, but it skips through him, and then Hedel buries it. The puck was bouncy tonight, which caused some issues for DeSmith. He also just wasn't great, but like 2 breakaways he faced in the game. Dallas can't allow that. But Harley had some issues on the third goal for Vancouver. He got sucked over to the near side. He was trying to cover and support Lundqvist. I see what he was trying to do there. He was trying to support Lundqvist because he kind of pinched up to take away the outlet pass. And then he got sucked over. Play got changed the point of attack to the far side. And then it's a nice play by Sasson to get behind it, and Harley couldn't catch him, and Sasson buried it stick side on DeSmith. But that's another one. The Stars can't allow that to happen. They worked in a change, but they were in good position. Harley got sucked over. Ernie got sucked over, and that's when the space opened up for Sasson. You can see Ernie, who made his debut tonight with Dallas. They both got sucked over, and that gave Sasson a lane, and it just really unraveled for Dallas. And it was a transition game that was spotty tonight, which has been a strength, I feel like, in the early going. But the speed for Vancouver, they were fast. They just were quicker. And that gave Dallas some troubles in the contest. It certainly did. Stars at 5-on-5 outchanced them 22-20, but didn't feel like Dallas was threatening all that much at points. They had some great looks when it was 3-2. I think it was 3-2, and then Rope had that chance towards the end of the second period where Bork set him up. It could have been the third period if I'm not mistaken, but the one pass where Bork made from behind the net, Hintz was all alone, and he missed the net. He's got to bury that, or he's at least got to force Demko to make a save. And Stars had a couple looks like that on the power play. Hintz had one too. Demko made the save on that. Credit to him. And I think it was Steele later in that same power play set when they had a chance to tie the game, and he hit the shin pad. There was just a couple of those moments where Dallas just wasn't able to find pay dirt. And they created enough. Expected goals 2.83 to 2.21. They created enough in the game to win, but once again they just let off the gas, and you can't do that, especially against good teams. You look at the first period, they expected goals for 2.1. That's really good, and less than 2 combined the next 2 periods. They couldn't find it, and it came back to bite them tonight. But that's a theme that's showing here early. So when they play with leads, it's not going too well, and they're going to have to rectify that, obviously. Let's talk about DeSmith a bit, some of his struggles, and the Stars' D-zone struggles as well. That maybe didn't help him out. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. Hockey season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real. Getting tickets could be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is just cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love Game Time because you can see the seat before you buy it. You can see the view from it, so you don't have to worry about being obstructed by a pole, by glass. We've all been there before, to a new arena, new ballpark maybe, where you get tickets, and then you show up, you get in your seat, and you're obstructed. I wouldn't have bought these tickets if I had known that, right? Game Time takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. They have zone deals as well. You pick the section, Game Time will pick your seats. You can find NHL tickets for $25, for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, ticket, tap, and go. Enjoy the game. Casey DeSmith, I would lump in as having a tough night and uncharacteristic as well. He was really good last season. He was phenomenal in starts where he faced a lot of shots. He didn't face a lot tonight. 26. It wasn't like he was overwhelmed. There was a lot of funky bounces in the game, especially early. The puck was just skipping and rolling. But, man, he was swimming way too much tonight. It was his debut. And I mentioned I wouldn't be surprised if they got him in a game at home to kind of kick off his year. And then Otter gets the St. Louis game on Saturday. But he was just all over the place. It wasn't calm. His rebound control wasn't very sharp. And, I mean, the amount of times he had to have pucks or pucks just, cleared off the line, whether by himself or defensemen, was insane. I mean, there was a span of like 2 minutes where he had like 3 of them. He had to be pulled off the line just because he was over pursuing some. He was over committing. He was just out of his crease. Just wasn't a real comfortable night for him. And look, the Stars weren't great in front of him, right? They gave up 2 power play goals, 2 breakaways, and the 1 power play goal was a high tip by Besser. It was a nice deflection, and then you follow up with the 2 breakaways, and then a really bad turnover. The 4th goal that Garland scored, like Blackwell, like I understand what he was trying to do there, but also like Blackwell, what were you trying to do there? I know he was trying to find Petrovic, but like that's a dangerous pass on the wall to just make a pass across your crease, across the slot area. And Garland was sneaky enough and he picked it off and then he just walked Petrovic. It's a nice move in one motion, backhand into the back of the net. The Smith isn't at fault for all of these, but it would have been nice for him to get one of these. Maybe 1-2 stops here, one stop on one of the breakaways. Maybe the story's different. And Dallas is able to hang in there. But that was a play that just can't happen if you're Dallas. And there was some uncharacteristic, their defensive zone wasn't awful. I think it was more the speed there wasn't a lot of shifts where it felt like they were hemmed in and just exhausted. It was just speed from Vancouver on the outside, and Dallas got tracking back to their own net way too much. And it's that transition speed where they got caught up ice that really haunted him in the game. And their PK gives up another 2 goals. Usually pretty stout, right, in that department. Just wasn't great. I mean, you can look at just the game scores. It's just not very good for Dallas. If you look at via hockey stat cards, DeSmith had a minus 2.8 in the game. Just not a good night from a lot of individuals. Robo was great again. He was a positive. So we'll kind of switch to some positives in the game because there are some performances that deserve to be highlighted. Robo has just been just flying to start the year. He picks up a couple of assists. I just really liked it. He plays hard. You know what's funny? I tuned into Seth Tupal, his postcast after the Wild Stars game the other night, and I just went through the comment section a little bit, and they're just ripping Robo and like how he was he was invisible on the night. And I'm just like, man, you have the blinders on. If you thought 21 was invisible in that game, he did he light up the score sheet? No, but he was all over the rink. Defensively, he was making big plays. I don't know what you're watching to think if he was invisible in the game. I just think him and Rantanen have clearly been the 2 best Stars players to begin this year. And once again, him and Hintz and Rantanen got a lot of time together. Really, the only trio that felt like they could consistently get some offense in the game. And he picks up another 2 helpers tonight. Sagan had some looks too. Would have loved for him to bury some. I'm curious what the shot on goal individual numbers look like if I go to the event summary here. Miro had 3 shots. Robo had 5. Hintz had 4 in the game. Mikko had 2. Like another 5 shots from Robo. He's been remarkable. And was really good again tonight. Like Rantanen, he's just special, right? I mean, Mikko deserves his flowers, sort of the usual cast of characters. Mikko deserves his flowers. What a night, too. I love the entry, too, off the rush. It's just quick. It's simple. We saw him score a goal exactly like that in the preseason against Minnesota. It's Robo to Rantanen, and he just rips it on net, goes against the grain. He doesn't dust it off. I love to see that on the power play. He's got such a lethal shot, and he was able to snap that one home. Rope again, needs to hit the net a little bit more. I know he had 4 shots in the game, but on some of his tasty looks, you got to bury some of those. But that line, unsurprisingly, was really good tonight. Again. Look, they need to be, right? We saw a lot of Sagan with Johnson, Robo tonight. They were all over the place. They had 7 scoring chances in the game. That trio at 5-on-5. Of course, they couldn't bury anything, but they had some looks. But again, it really dried up towards, outside of what I feel like the last 4 minutes, maybe last 8 minutes, they kind of made a push in the game. But right after Vancouver rattled off the 4 unanswered in the second period, they didn't have a response, and they had some adversity, and they came into the third. There wasn't that massive push early in the third, where they were just continually kind of grinding away. There just wasn't enough on Demko, in my opinion. They created enough to win the game, but still just not putting the pedal down. And Vancouver credit to them. They did a pretty good job against Dallas. They didn't give up a ton until, they took the penalty late in the game, and Dallas made him pay. But Dallas has a long way to go playing with leads here. It feels like they have some work to do. And again, it's early. It's nothing to really freak out about or run to the panic button. But look, it's 3 out of the 4 to begin the year. Like, it's sort of, we're getting to kind of a trend, and we'll see if they can kick that. The nice thing is they're getting off to better starts. I guess I'll take that. They are getting up in leads. That's a good thing, of course. It's never a bad thing to get up 2-0, 3-0. But man, they have to find a way. This is where they're gonna have to learn throughout the year to just put away teams. And when you get that power play, when you're up 2-0, you get a chance to bury a team. You gotta bury them. And they weren't able to do that tonight, and it haunted them. But some good positive performances from some. But also some struggling ones. That's the way she goes, right? It's 82-game season. Is going to be up and down. Dallas is back on the road tomorrow, and they kick off a weekend against another central foe, which will maybe bring some fortune against the St. Louis Blues. We'll discuss that and more just after this. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss, Stars fans. You've heard me talk about it all year long. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if that first $5 bid hits. So you pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets used across the app. It allows you to bet how you like to play, whether it's parlays, player props, even follow the live lines during the game. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or just love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better on the weekend. Can't wait to watch football this weekend, college football, NFL on Sundays. Of course, you have Major League Baseball going on, the postseason. We got some incredible games. The one series is struggling, but the ALCS looks like it's going to be an all-timer. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Dallas hits the road tomorrow against St. Louis, 2-2-0 through 4 games this season. The Blues took a beatdown against the Chicago Blackhawks the other night. Hofer was in net, so the Stars are going to see Bennington, who has not had a great start to his year. 1-1, 860 save percentage, 3.63 goals against. So teams have been able to perforate him here in the early going. I'll give you more specifics on that as well. Against Minnesota, he gave up 5 goals on 16 shots, or 5 goals on 21 shots, and then he took on these Vancouver Canucks, which he picked up a win. He stopped 27 of 29. He actually came in for relief against the Blackhawks as well in the game, but will certainly get the start. So it was one really good start, one poor start for Bennington to kick off his year. But we all know when he plays Dallas, he seems to lock in, and he will certainly be a tough one. Although, again, like the Stars' offense is not really much of a concern. You know what? They've at least 3. They had 5 in the first 3 games. They put up 3 here tonight. For the most part, if Dallas scores 3 goals, they're probably going to be really good this year. I imagine they're going to win, 60, 65% of their games, maybe even more than that, if they score 3 goals per game. And, maybe if Otter's in the net tonight, they win. I don't know. You can always speculate and play the what if game, but they haven't had really issues, creating offense. It's been a really refreshing first couple weeks of the season. They look good off the rush. They look good on the cycle game. They look good in transition. They're making a lot of good things happen. And there's a lot of different individuals contributing. But Bork, with his goal tonight, I think they said on the broadcast, he's the 12th different Dallas Star to score a goal this year. Like that's saying something. Like the Stars are getting depth scoring. And I know I came in saying, like, I mean, the Stars' depth isn't as good as it. I mean, I would still say it isn't as good or talented as it was a year ago. But like the depth is contributing, and that's what we talked about a lot too. Like these guys that weren't relied on the best have to step up if Dallas wants to be good. So far, they have been. That's great. Now it's cleaning up the other end of the puck, and that's where the issues have been. Stars defensively. They have just ran into some issues. They're still, I think, figuring out, making some adjustments in their defensive zone. I think they're just going to struggle with team speed, like Vancouver just gave them issues. And Lundqvist is Harley, as much as they love that pairing offensively, like they have work to do on the other side of the game. They need to be more stout. I'm curious if you looked at some individual numbers, how that pairing kind of fared at 5-on-5. So Harley, when he was on the ice, shots for 12, 8 against. Like that's not bad. Lundqvist 7-4, 4 against. So like that's not bad at 5-on-5. But they got caught, up ice on a few. And they, again, things that I don't expect to happen. That's why I'm not overly concerned. That's something I'm not expecting to happen, continuously or consistently this year. Like the one goal, Harley, the 2 goals they were on the ice, like Harley got sucked over. The other one, like it's just a bouncing puck that just completely ate him up. It was unfortunate. It was a bounce that went on his tape. But 5-on-5, some numbers aren't awful. But they do have to clean up some in their own zone. And they pushed kind of late. I'd like there to be a little bit more intensity coming out of the gate in the third to try to put yourself back into the game. They got one late, and unfortunately, just weren't able to find an equalizer. But back to the Blues. Look, they're a good team. Been a bit struggling out of the gates. Like, don't get me wrong, but they're a good team. They're gonna right the ship. And they have like a guy like Neighbors, who we saw in the preseason, had a good game. Buchnevich, who I love. I think it's my favorite name in the National Hockey. I just said Buchnevich. I love that name. I could say that all day long. But they're a team that's, they're getting some like it's a lot of different characters scoring too. It's, Neighbors has 4 goals leading them. But other than that, like it's a lot of different guys that have chipped in. They're scoring 3 goals per game. They're giving up a lot. A couple power play goals. Their PK struggled out of the gate, 76%. Stars power play, that's looked great. Even the times they're not scoring, like, man, they've looked dangerous. And they got to keep that going, and continue to put the pressure down there. But it's another, obviously, I look forward to this game. When you're on the road in St. Louis, I feel like it's a really good measuring stick game. They seem to play really tight games. And St. Louis is always just a tough match. So I think they match up well against Dallas. Like they're kind of heavy. They got speed. They're young. I look forward to seeing, but right. It's the lulls that Dallas is kind of getting into, right? Where, they're flying and then it just drops off a cliff. They gotta take that out of their games. So love it. Don't love the loss. That's for sure. But should be a good one this weekend. Hopefully have an episode out maybe on Sunday, kind of breaking it down. I'll be working this weekend. Got an ice race, a couple of games. El Paso come to town. It's at home this weekend. So should be a fun one. So I won't be able to watch it live, but I'll certainly catch it after the game. Maybe get an episode out on Sunday, a little bonus edition, if all thing goes well. So hopefully the schedule makes it possible, and I still have a voice. Sometimes. Alrighty, Stars fans. Hey, by the way, you have killed it here in the early going. Appreciate all the new subscribers. If you are new here or just new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Really appreciate that. I would love to get to 5,000 subscribers. It's my third season doing this. It's an absolute blast. And appreciate all the feedback as well in the comments below. Love hearing your input and hearing what you have to say about the Stars here in the early going. A lot of greats, some bads, plenty to clean up. And as we all know here on Locked On Stars, I have the answers, and I just have to verbalize them and get them out into the world. But that'll do it for Friday edition. Enjoy the weekend, Stars fans. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you on the next episode of Locked On Stars. So long, Stars fans.